Hey, I got frozen livestock water trough problems. It's winter, they're frozen. I have found a simple method from online with water and salt. Simple method, it's cheap, it's easy, and it's off grid. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. First of all, I would like to thank Big Sky, Homesteading and Big Blue Sky. I came across her channel yesterday, and I've been dealing with frozen water. I've been taking hot jugs of water, my milk jugs that we keep using time and time again. During the winter months, I have to take hot water up to make sure the livestock has fresh, warm water. Especially in the morning, it helps them warm up the innards from a long, cold winter's night. Now it's been as low as 13 degrees when I got up this morning, so I think it's 20 degrees now. But everything's still frozen. Even my pond is slightly frozen over. But check out these water troughs. They are frozen solid. So I found this method. If I just take a water jug and fill it half with water, and then I'm going to put in a half a tablespoon of kosher salt in the water. And then we're going to, they said just put the lid on the water, float it in your trough, and the key is keep the water moving, but I don't know the mechanics with the salt in the jug keeping the water moving. Now I know that salt water does not freeze. Consider the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, any ocean for that matter. You get icebergs that drop in them, but those are fresh water that has frozen and slid off into the ocean. Now they're just kind of like floating out there. And in certain cases, like the Bering Straits, they will freeze over. It gets frigid up there. And then you can just literally walk from the United States to Russia. Seriously, folks. So, excuse my breakfast dishes. I need it half full, so I'm just going to leave some airspace in there for buoyancy. And I'm going to fill this little cup. It's just a half a cup is all I'm doing. That's it, half a cup. Shake it out. And I'm going to do the same with this bottle. So I got my 2 jugs half full with salt in them. And I know that is going to keep the jug and probably keep them from getting too cold to allow the water that's surrounding these jugs to freeze up. Now, I think the water more around the edges of the trough will freeze up, but not against these jugs. So I think we're going to try this. I have 4 troughs. We're going to leave 2 troughs without the jugs and 2 troughs with the jugs. And that way I have that litmus test. Let's go do this. Now I've got 2 jugs of hot water, and I know my animals are going to need some water. And I've got these 2 salt water jugs to put in those troughs. So let's go up and see what we can get. Now I've got this one trough that froze over, That's a pretty thick layer of ice there. Yeah. And I know these ladies are anxious for some water, so I'm going to go ahead and dump the warm water in there and try to loosen that top layer of ice. I'll pull that out. Yeah, I released it. So we'll go ahead and pull it. Look how thick that is. Look how thick that is. Okay, so we'll put this in there. So they were waiting for that warm water, that warm drink. So now there's my first test. I'll take you over and show you their other water trough. Now this trough has been stayed full, but it is full of ice. And this is typical for the winter. Breaking that ice up with a shovel. Look how thick that is. I can't even break it up. Okay, look how thick that is. So for this bucket, we're not going to put one of those floating salt jugs in there. Now I got to feed the billy goats and take care of their water trough. Okay, now their water trough is frozen also. And put some hot water in there. And drop this jug in there. And that should melt the ice, or keep the ice from solidifying throughout the thing. It leaves at least a small hole in the trough in the water so they can get to the water underneath the layer of ice. If that's what theoretically is what I think is going to happen. This other trough up here is frozen solid. I don't use that trough right now. That's okay. The chickens, the ducks, the geese, I don't have to worry about them. I do have to worry about the rabbit, the turkeys, and the goats. That's it. Because all the other critters, they can get access through the pond, the water on the pond. So I'll be back in the morning and we'll see how well this works. Well, good morning. We're going to be part 2 in this experiment with the salt water in a half-filled jug in the troughs out there. Now, it's colder this morning than it was yesterday. And so everything's frozen over. And this morning, I'm going to take my little electronic thermometer, and we're going to see the difference between the water in the trough and the water in the salt water to see the solutions. And we're also going to check the temperature in the troughs that don't have the salt water solution. So let's go. Now, I'm not so worried about the ducks, the geese, and the chickens because they can still get water. We still have water flowing down off the mountain through the pond. Even though the surface of the pond is iced over, we still have a drip coming out of this pipe down here so the chickens can get fresh water. But I'm going to go ahead and put some warm water in the chicken trough so they have something to warm up. I'm also going to do the turkeys, and of course the goats and the rabbit are going to get some warm water too. So for starters, let's just get an ambient temperature of what's going on out here. Look at this. You see that? 18.2. And now let's point it at one of these jugs. If I can find my little laser beam. 81, so that's one of the warm water. So now let's take this device and some hot water over to the billy goats, and let's see how effective that jug half full of water and salt is. Here's the trough that I did not put a jug in, and you can see how thick the ice cover is. That ice is thick, and this is what I pulled out yesterday. That thick piece of ice alone. Okay, it says the ice is 23.9. There's a laser beam on the side of that, and it says it's 21. Okay, what does it say on this tree? 14.2. The tree is shivering cold. So now let's check out the goat's trough that I have that thing in. It's frozen solid. The milk jug is 16.6. The water, the frozen ice is 22. So as far as this experiment goes, it's still not conclusive because it only has that much water in there. And need to clean out their trough. And give them some more water. I think I'll give you boys another gallon. Okay, another gallon, boys. And it's melting all that ice. And then I'll be back with your hay. Yeah. All right. Let's go check out my other experiment. Oh, it's so cold here. So, the water's completely frozen. So the water in the trough is completely frozen, but the saltwater solution in the milk jug is not. So let's do a check on this. Okay, there's the water. It's 24.8. You see that? Okay. And there's the milk jug. The milk jug is colder than the water, but the water's frozen. Or a little bit cooler. So it did not keep the water from freezing. So I'm going to put hot water in here to make sure they have plenty of water to drink. And of course, this one over in the barn, frozen solid. You guys ready for breakfast? Okay, let's go get breakfast. So, I have to call this experiment that I did a fail because it simply did not work in the low temperatures that we're having. We're in the teens. I mean, 12 degrees. Brr! My fingers are frozen. I can't feel them right now. Anyway, I'm going to go in the house. Warm by the fire. Yeah, so, oh gosh, it feels good in here. Anyway, this particular experiment, I'm glad it works for other folks who demonstrated it on YouTube. I just don't know it's going to work in as low a temperatures as we're getting right now. I'll just have to keep taking the hot water out to them in the mornings and then in the evenings to make sure that my animals have plenty of water to, well, to be hydrated. I know winter time is a very stressful time. People don't think about becoming dehydrated in the winter months. Wow, cold. Now I'm right by the fire, get warm. Well, anyway, that's too bad. I really wanted that experiment to work. It'll save me some time, save the animals, but let me know in the comments if it's still working for you guys, and it is working for you guys. And if you guys determine if, can validate that it only works above a certain temperature, because right now, like 10, 12 degrees is just not working. Anyway, I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. We're a frugal homestead tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest. Please stay tuned to more videos. You could do that by subscribing, clicking that bell icon. That alerts you to new videos as I upload them. Hey, give us a thumbs up. Click that share button. Sharing my videos on your social media platforms helps us out. Remember, be safe. Always be kind. I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye-bye now.